International Silver Company presents Silver Theater. Starring Thomas Mitchell and Edna Best in Census 1940. Directed by Conrad Nagel. Brought to you this week by International Sterling, world-famous solid silver. And here is our director, Conrad Nagel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the 29th program in the current Silver Theater series. Today, our guests are Thomas Mitchell and Edna Best, stars of the new RKO production, Swiss Family Robinson. Our play is a timely one, Census, 1940, which has been especially written in collaboration by True Boardman. Next Sunday, another important star returns to the stage of our Silver Theater, and if you'll wait a moment after today's play is ended, I'll tell you all about her. And now, before the house lights dim and the silver curtain rises on the opening act of Census, 1940, starring Thomas Mitchell as John and Edna Best as Ellen. The time, late afternoon of a day in April, 1940. The scene, a small house overlooking the sea on the Massachusetts coast.
Yes?
Good evening. I'm the census taker.
Oh, good evening. Come on in.
Thank you. Are you the lady of the house?
Me? Lord, no. I just come out here days to cook and clean for Mr. Thomson.
Oh. Then may I see the owner now?
Oh, yes. He's right in the other room there. Oh, young man, maybe I ought to warn you. He's sort of failing, Mr. Thomson is.
You mean he's ill?
Well, he has been. Sometimes I hear him talking to himself in there, like there was somebody with him.
Really?
Oh, he's a nice enough old fella, but queer-like, you know. Just as liable as not to go plumb off to sleep while you're talking to him. Oh, but don't think nothing of it. Come on.
Yes?
Oh, Mr. Thomson, it's the census man.
Huh? Census. Oh, come in.
Well, I'll get on with my work.
Sit down, young man. Sit down.
Thank you, sir. Or should I say captain?
Captain?
This room looks almost like the bridge of a ship, so I thought perhaps...
Oh, I noticed that, did you? Yes, I did sort of make the place ship-shape.
Then you are a seaman, sir?
Seaman? Me? Well, in a way, but not exactly. Matter of fact, my home is in Lawrence County, Kansas.
Well, I'll just start on these questions. Now, let's see. I have the address. Now, your full name. Your full name, sir.
Oh, my name, John S. Thomson. S for Sloan.
Does anyone else reside here, Mr. Thomson?
What's that?
Are you married, Mr. Thomson?
John, he's asking about our being married.
I know, Ellen.
What? Mr. Thomson, didn't you hear me? I asked if you were married.
Answer him, John. Tell him about us. You remember, even though it's over 40 years ago, you remember. You must remember. 40 years ago.
Ellen!
Man of ocean, Johnny Townsend. What's all the to-do?
Mr. Porter, Ellen. I've got to find her. Oh, Billy, do you know?
Miss Ellen's still in the schoolhouse. She's correcting papers.
Thanks. Ellen.
John, what's happened?
Well, it's all set.
What on earth are you talking about?
Look, remember all those books we read together? The travel books? The ones on navigation?
Yes, of course I remember.
Well, I'm going to find out whether those books tell the truth or not, for myself.
You're not going away?
I'm going to see Ellen. I settled it with Dad today.
How long will you be?
How long? I'll be gone for good. Oh, I might come back to visit sometimes, but I'd be living as a sailor. Just think, Ellen, a Thompson is going back to the sea.
Going back?
Don't you remember? I told you my grandfather was a sea captain. Captain Richard Thompson of the good ship Eagle. Well, I'll be a captain myself someday.
Of course you will. A fine one.
Ellen, did you ever imagine what the ocean must be really like? Oh, we've read about it and talked about it. But how could we really know, living hemmed in by land as we always have?
We couldn't possibly know.
Oh, it hasn't been quite so bad for you. Being brought up in Canada, you at least had the big lakes. Still, that's not the same as the ocean itself. And now I'm going to see it, Ellen. I'm going to hear the song of the waves, like those in the poems we read together.
I'm glad. It's important to do the thing you've always wanted. Your life's just wasted otherwise. Yes. I'm glad for you.
I knew you would be. You... Ellen, you're crying.
No, I'm not. Well, if I am, it's just because I'm happy for you.
Well, why should you cry if you're happy?
I don't know. Maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's because I'm jealous. You love the sea, and you can do something about it. A man is free, but a girl...
Then you feel the same way?
Haven't I read all those books, too? Don't you suppose a girl can wish for the songs of the waves?
Ellen.
But the difference is, I can't do anything about it.
But you can. Or you could.
How?
Would you be scared to be a sailor's wife?
Oh, John.
I love you, Ellen. If I never said so, it's because I didn't think I had a chance. You've been to college and all. And me, well, I'm just like a million other fellas. But if you take a chance on me, I'd try to be worthy of you. Honest, I would.
Oh, darling, why have you waited so long to tell me?
Marry me, Ellen, and come with me. We'd get a little house in some port town, Salem, Massachusetts, maybe. And I'd be at home for a few months every year anyway. And later, when I got to be a captain, you could live on the ship with me. Will you do it, Ellen?
Of course I will. Only...
Only what? What's wrong?
Well, it costs a lot to travel clear to Massachusetts and then get a house.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe you'd better go on without me.
You think I could do that now? Wait. Ellen, I know what we'll do. Dad said if I'd stay even a year, he'd give me the river farm. Well, we can be married now. Then after we sell our first crop, we can get rid of the farm and move east.
If only we could. Oh, but your heart is set on going now.
I thought it was, but I guess I just didn't know my own heart. Maybe that's because it's more yours than mine.
Oh, John, are you sure? You sure you don't mind waiting?
When I'll have you, I could wait forever. Well, anyway, almost forever.
Oh, darling. To love and to cherish till death do us part. And thereto I give thee my troth.
Ellen, with this ring I thee wed, and with all my worldly goods I thee endow.
Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, didn't you understand me? I asked if you were married.
Married, you say? Yes. Yes, I'm married. Married Ellen Hilton back in Kansas in 97.
Is Mrs. Thompson living?
No, she died. Very sudden.
Oh. Are there any other members of the family? Do you have any children?
Children?
Yes, any children.
Children?
Yes, John. He wants to know about Richard, our child, our Richard. You remember that, too. So tell him about Richard. Remember?
$700, Ellen. That's a crop to be proud of. No farm in the section had a better yield to the acre.
Oh, you worked hard, darling. That's the reason. John.
Yeah?
There was a package came for you today. It's in the other room. Book, isn't it?
Wouldn't be surprised.
What's the name of it?
The Trade Winds Call.
And they still do, don't they?
Well, don't they for you? We promised ourselves we'd go east a year ago.
Yes, I know, but I'm afraid we can't very well.
You've changed your mind. You don't want to go. I felt that.
No, it's not that. It's just that we waited too long.
Too long?
John, we can't go now for at least another year.
Another year? Ellen. Oh, darling.
We owe our child security, even if we don't ask it for ourselves.
Of course we do. With news like that, doesn't matter if we never leave here. Well, anyway, not so much.
I promised I'd go with you, and I shall. We'll just have to wait a while, that's all.
We'll call him Richard, Ellen. After that grandfather of mine who was the sea captain.
All right. But you're awfully sure he's going to be a him.
Of course I'm sure. You wait and see.
I guess I'll have to.
You may go in now, John.
How's Ellen?
Well, she's had a pretty bad time. I'm afraid there won't be any more children.
I see.
Thanks, Doctor. Go on in.
Hello.
Hello.
Want to see him? He looks kind of scrawny, doesn't he? But he'll improve. They almost always do.
Oh, Ellen.
Darling, he's here. There's nothing to be upset about now. Nothing in the world.
Yes, Ellen? Jim says you wanted me. What's wrong?
Stand where you are.
Huh?
Right there. Now, Richard, go to Father. To Daddy, go on.
He's walking. My son's walking.
Of course he is.
Hey, he fell down. Suppose he hurt himself?
Oh, silly. That's just part of being a baby.
Then, son, the pony didn't get out of the barn himself. You let him out.
Yes, sir.
You lied to Daddy, Richard.
Yes, ma'am. I guess you gotta lick me, huh, Daddy?
I guess so, son. Better get on up to your room.
All right, sir.
His first lie and his first licking.
You have to do it, John.
Afraid so. Gotta start him right. But I sure wish it was me instead. Watch sharp now, Richard.
But, Dad, what if we do spot a deer and I miss? Will you ever bring me hunting again?
Shh. You won't miss. There. There's a buck now. Down in the stream bed.
I see him. I see him.
Now, don't get excited. Take your time. Aim right behind the shoulder. Now.
I got him. Dad, with the very first shot. I got him.
Yes, son. I reckon you're a full-fledged hunter now.
The Navy, Richard. But you're only a boy.
I'm almost 18. Dad, you understand. We're in this war now. Somebody from this family ought to be doing his bit. And as long as they turned you down, I thought...
John, you didn't tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad.
It's all right. I did try to join the Navy, Ellen. I knew somehow you'd understand. But it seems they only want younger men.
But you will let me go. Please. I'll be all right. And you said yourself, a Thompson really belongs on the sea.
Secretary of Agriculture commended John Thomson and other leading farmers of this district for their cooperation in meeting the additional demand for wheat brought on by the war. Oh, darling, in the paper. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Lots of farmers are doing as much as I am.
John, what's wrong?
Ellen, a letter. It was a letter.
From Richard? What is it? Tell me.
Ellen, you've got to keep hold of yourself. This just came. Better read it.
No. It's not true.
Steady, Ellen, steady. It's my fault. I shouldn't have let him go.
John! John!
Have any children, Mr. Thompson? Mr. Thompson?
Yes? Yes. Children. One child. We had one child, Richard, born 1900.
Your son is living?
He joined the Navy in 17. They assigned him to a ship called Cyclops. Collier she was.
Cyclops, oh, I've heard of it.
She sailed from Barbados, West Indies in March 1918. Full crew, full cargo. Was never heard from again.
Oh, then your son was lost at sea, Mr. Thompson?
Yes. Yes, he was. Lost at sea.
The house lights dim and the silver curtain rises on the final act of Census 1940, starring Thomas Mitchell and Edna Best as John and Ellen Thompson. The scene is the same, the small seaside cottage. His record book on his knees, the youthful census taker addresses the old man seated before him.
Well, Mr. Thompson, sir, if you're tired or don't feel up to it, I can come back and finish this some other day.
Nothing of the kind. Census is important. People have got to help all they can. Go ahead, young man.
All right, sir. Well, let's see. Age, your age, sir.
I'm 67. No, had a birthday last week. 68.
68. Now, where were you living on April 1st, 1935?
1935?
Yes, 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago. You'll have to remember that too, John. 5 years. Go back and remember.
Yes, Mr. Thompson, I can show you the itinerary right here. I brought a map from the office. You and Mrs. Thompson sailed from New York on May 12th for Panama.
Then Los Angeles, Honolulu, Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong.
I thought you wanted me to show you the route. I'll bet you know it by heart.
Reckon I do. We've been planning this for years. But something always kept coming up. Mrs. Thompson's birthday is next week, and I want this to be a surprise for her.
I understand, sir. So you've never made a trip on the ocean before?
I have in a way, but only in those books there. Guess I've traveled the 7 seas 700 times in my own mind. You see that ship's motto on the mantel? Made it myself from pictures. You know, my grandfather... remember, mum's the word.
Yes. Oh, John, there's a... Oh, I didn't know you were busy.
It's all right. This is Mr. Marcus, Mrs. Thompson.
How do you do,
Mrs. Thompson?
John, if you can come for a minute, there's a delegation out here to see you.
A delegation?
Yes, Henry Leonard and 3 others.
Oh, well, will you excuse me, Mr. Marcus?
Certainly, sir.
Come, Ellen.
Hello, John. Hello, John.
Hello, Tom. Hubble, Hank, how are you? What is all this?
You tell him, Hank.
And if this district has any leading citizen, I guess you're it.
You don't tell me.
No, John. This is serious.
Oh, my mistake. Go ahead, Hank.
There's lots of things we aren't forgetting, John. How you figured out a way to help us keep our funds and the banks weren't lending a dime. How you thought up that idea of a cooperative during the drought.
Get to the point, Hank.
All right, I will. John, we've been talking it over, and we want you to run for Congress in this district.
Oh, darling, isn't that wonderful?
We're right certain we can put him over, Miss Thompson.
Sure we can.
What do you say, John?
Well, I'll have to talk it over with the boss. That's Ellen. Did have some other plans, but... Well, I'll think about it.
You do that.
And let us out. Come on, boys. Think it over, John.
So long. Thanks.
John, why didn't you tell them yes? What could possibly be more worthwhile than this?
Nothing, I guess. Nothing.
What's wrong? I should think you'd be proud, as I am.
Oh, I am in a way, only... Well, Ellen, I was counting on a trip.
A trip? Where?
Around the world. We've had a date with a couple of oceans, you and I. Or maybe you've forgotten.
No, I haven't forgotten. I've never forgotten.
But there's always been something to stop us. Now I thought we could make it at last.
Oh, but this is more important. You must see that.
Is it? Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is.
Then you'll do it. You will run.
Yes, I reckon so.
Oh, good. And Henry Leonard's right. We can elect you.
Here, where are you going?
Over to Mary Vance's. You know how much influence she has with the women, Percy.
Starting to campaign a little early, aren't you?
Well, you can't start too early. I won't be gone long.
Ellen, wait. I don't like you driving alone. The roads are bad after that storm yesterday. Now, if you'll wait till I get rid of that young man...
Now, John Thompson, will you ever get over treating me as though I needed a guardian? I'll drive myself. I'll be back inside of an hour. Goodbye.
Bye, Ellen. Bye.
Apparently there was ice on the road which caused the car to skid and turn over. Your wife was pinned underneath.
Doctor, is there any chance? Now, don't lie to me. It's not like this.
There are always what men call miracles, Thompson.
I understand.
You may go in to her now.
Hello.
Oh. Ellen.
So glad you got here.
You better try to talk.
But I want to. Well, I want to.
All right.
Let's not pretend, John. There's not time enough for that. While I've been lying here, a lot of things have become clear. And there's something I want you to do for me.
Anything, my dear.
Tell them no about the election. It's not the thing you want. I see now that long ago, without meaning to, I took you away from another love.
Ellen.
I took you away from the sea. And now I want to give you back to her. promise me that you won't let old memories keep you here. We had a dream once to follow the sun into the sunset. And, John, I want you to fulfill that dream now for both of us.
Oh, my dear.
You will, won't you? You'll go to the sea.
Yes, Ellen. I'll go.
We should have gone together years ago. But you can still have the sea and the ships you've longed for. And someday I'll sail them with you, John. Somehow, I know that.
You will. I'm sure you will. Now you must rest. You must rest, my dear.
You haven't answered me, Mr. Thompson.
Answer?
Yes, I asked where you were 5 years ago.
Oh, I was on my farm in Kansas, Lawrence County. Left there the next year. Came here. Tried to get jobs on ships. Too old. Pleasure trips wouldn't have been the same alone. Bought this place near the sea. Been here ever since.
Thank you. Now, there's just a few more questions. About employment. Were you employed in any capacity during the last year, sir? Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, sir. Oh, well. Oh, ma'am.
Yes?
You were right when you said he might drop off to sleep. That's just what he's done.
Oh, well, wake him up if you like. He won't mind.
Oh, no, he seems pretty tired. I'll come back for the rest some other day.
You sound kind of tuckered out yourself.
Yes, I am. I made a lot of calls today.
Bet you meet a lot of people in your job.
Interesting? I don't know. As far as I can see, most of the 130 million lead pretty ordinary lives like old Mr. Thompson's. Just run of the mill.
Yeah, suppose you're right.
It's funny, though.
What?
Well, the old fellow sitting in there in his chair, sound asleep. Probably be right there half the night, all by himself.
John, darling.
Oh, did I forget some questions?
No, you didn't forget.
But the census fellow.
He's gone.
But he hadn't finished. Will he be back?
I don't think he'll need to come back.
But the census is important. Every citizen should help.
That's true, darling. But with so many, many others to be counted, don't you think the census man could do without just one name?
What do you mean? Ellen. I can see you. I haven't seen you the other times. Not since...
Of course you see me. We're going now, John. That ship that's been waiting so long. We're sailing on it. Together.
Together? Ellen. Oh, my dear. At last.
Edna Best and Thomas and Mitchell will return in just a moment. While we're waiting for them, here's a brief word about next Sunday's show.
It's one of this season's big events, the return engagement of one of America's most popular actresses, Carole Lombard. In Days of Grace, a really beautiful love story, Miss Lombard portrays the role of a girl who faces the emotional crisis of her life on the eve of a great war. It's a performance we're certain you'll all enjoy. And now here are Thomas Mitchell and Edna Best. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Tom. For two of the finest performances I've ever heard. You know, ever since I saw the preview of your new picture, Swiss Family Robinson, I wanted you here in Silver Theater, so today's a happy day for me.
Well, that's even all around, Conrad. Plus, I, for one, certainly wanted to be here.
And for my part,